Five sense organs. What food makes your tummy smile and makes you do a little dance of joy? What is your favorite food? Or is that just me? Well, in today's class, we are going to learn how you know that your food is yummy or nasty. We are going to learn about the yummy delicious sense. The sense of taste. What body part helps us to taste? You're right, it's the tongue. It's not just for sticking out or making funny sounds. The tongue is our only organ that helps us tell the difference between all the different types of taste. And where is the tongue? In the best place for making funny sounds and getting food unstuck from the tops of our mouths.
The mouth.
There are 4 things we need to learn about the tongue to know a lot about it. First, we learn all about the tongue itself. Second, we will visit the tongue house, the mouth, also called oral cavity. This is where the tongue lives, besides being a burp highway and a nice place to keep your gum. Medical word for mouth is oral cavity. Thirdly, we will learn what else the tongue does beside tasting. You will be surprised to learn it has a lot of functions other than detecting taste and making funny noises. Finally, we will look at the tongue as if it is under a microscope to see the tiny structures on the tongue. This is going to be one yummy lecture and I need your full attention so you can truly enjoy it. What is the biggest snake-like thing in your mouth?
It's my tongue.
Woohoo, right. Tongue is the muscular structure attached to the floor of the mouth. Tongue can still move around when your mouth closes. Funnily, I call it a snake because it can move back and forth, under and around your teeth. When you all had your mouths wide open, I am sure you saw your tongue move around in the mouth, right? Do you wonder how your tongue can be more flexible than your hands and feet? It's the special muscles type of the tongue help its extremely flexible movement. And the tongue movements help you not only in speaking, but also in mixing the food inside the mouth and make a food bolus which will be easily swallowed. Quiz: how does the tongue help us?
Speaking, mixing the food and easy to swallow.
It also helps with forming bubbles with your gum while you're playing, right?
Yeah, I like bubble gums.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's an amazing muscle. Now can everyone open your mouths and stick out your tongue? No raspberries. Look at your friend's tongue next to you. What does the surface of the tongue look like?
It looks rough.
Good catch. Sharp eyes. Yes, it looks rough with a lot of tiny projections, right? Let's look closer. They are called the papillae of the tongue. This tiny structure papillae is mysterious to you and me, isn't it? Papillae are small bumps found on the tongue based on the different shapes. They are so tiny to distinguish their shapes, but under the magnifying glass, you may be able to see 4 types of papillae. All 4 types of papillae are found in different places of the tongue. The names are based on the shape of the papillae. Papillae. Big words are coming. As seen in the below diagram, the 4 types of papilla are foliate, fungiform, volate, circumvallate, and filiform. How many types of papilla?
There are 4 types of papilla are foliate, fungiform, valate, circumvallate, and filiform.
If it helps, we can call them Fung, Charles, and Philip. Filiform Philip. Filiform are the most common type of lingual papillae. These are little projections. Filiform are small and round and do not contain taste buds.
Do not contain taste buds.
Yup, no taste bud in filiform. Filiform is the only papillae that doesn't have taste buds. Fungiform Fung. Do you know what fungi is?
I think fungi mean mushrooms.
Yes, fungi is the scientific word for mushrooms. I have said that the name of these papillae are based on their shapes. So what is the shape of fungiform?
The mushroom-shaped papillae?
You're absolutely right. Fungiform is shaped papillae. Fungiform Fung. Differently from filiform, fungiform contain taste buds, in spite that mushroom is tasteless. These fungiform contains taste buds, sensory cells, which are located primarily at the tip of the tongue. Circumvallate Charles. Circumvallate Charles. These larger papillae are located on the back third of the tongue in a V shape and also contain taste buds. Foliate Fong. Foliate Fong. This is tricky, so let me tell you directly. Folium means leaf in Latin. Foliate is leaf-shaped papillae. Foliate are located on the side borders of the tongue and also contain taste buds. Yeah, we can taste food from the sides of the tongue also.
Folium means leaf.
Okay, class. Who tell me how many types of papilla? And what are they?
The tongue have 4 types of papillae, and they are filiform, fungiform, valate, circumvallate, and foliate.
Now let's call their names again. Repeat after me. Fung, Charles, and Philip. Good jobs. Okay, we learned about papillae, the prominent bumpy structures on the tongue. Now let's learn about some other prominent features that can be seen on the tongue. In anatomy, most of the words are derived from Latin. In Latin, a sulcus is a groove. Lingual refers to tongue or language in Latin. On the tongue, if you notice, there are 2 prominent grooves on the tongue. These are known as sulci. It is quite funny that there is a pasta variant known as linguine. Try to remember you're not eating tongue when you eat it though. Kidding.
In Latin, sulcus is a groove. Lingual refers to tongue.
Median lingual sulcus. The groove that you see straightly in the center, middle of the tongue that divided the tongue into left and right portions, known as the median lingual sulcus. Median means middle. It is easy to remember it that way.
Median means middle.
Median lingual sulcus. This groove divides the tongue into 2 parts, left and right. When you stick your tongue out, you will be able to see the median groove. The next groove, sulcus, is known as sulcus terminalis. This is a V-shaped, shallow groove that divides the tongue into anterior and posterior portions. Who has watched the movie Terminator? Termination means an end, right? Just like that, the sulcus terminalis marks the end of the front of the tongue and beginning of the circumvallate papillae.
Termination means an end.
This groove divide tongue into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 by size. This is important because the nerves that supply the anterior 2/3 of the tongue and posterior 1/3 of the tongue is different. We will learn more later. At the center of the sulcus terminalis there is a small pit-like structure. This is known as foramen caecum. Funny name, right? It has a origin in Latin. A foramen means an opening or a hole. Caecum means a small pouch-like structure. Foramen caecum.
A foramen means an opening or a hole. Caecum means a small pouch-like structure.
On the tongue have two prominent grooves are median lingual sulcus and sulcus terminalis.
How many prominent grooves?
The tongue have two prominent grooves are median lingual sulcus and sulcus terminalis.
Root. This is where the tongue is attached to the floor of the mouth, that way the tongue will not move too far out from our mouth. The root of the tongue is the posterior portion of the tongue that attaches it to the bottom of the pharynx, the throat. This is important because it keeps our tongue from flying out of our mouths. While that might be a neat party trick, I wouldn't want my tongue to fall on the floor. Just like the root of the tongue at the back of the mouth, there should be something that prevent our tongue from falling back into the throat, right? We will learn about that next. Frenulum. Let's play the tongue game to see what directions your tongue can move. Can your tongue move up and backward? Can your tongue move down and backward? Can your tongue roll, flip? Amazing tongue, isn't it? Not all people can roll, flip their tongues backward. Some people can do the special tongue flip by controlling their tongues to do extreme motions. I cannot flip my tongue, but I know to explain how they can flip their tongue backward. That is because there is a structure called frenulum. Frenulum ties the tongue to the floor of the mouth. Some do not have frenulum. Frenulum structure gives tongues extreme flexibility. Let us see if anyone in this class can roll their tongues. You can challenge your parents, your grandparents and your friends the tongue rolling game after the class, to find out who you know have frenulum structure. Which one is give tongues extreme flexibility?
The frenulum structure.
Having said all that things, just remember medical name for the tip of the tongue is called apex. Apex. This is the tip of the tongue. It's good for quick acts of cheekiness, stick it out.
Apexes.
It's time for review. Let's take a quick look for all we learned. Tongue have four types of papilla are filiform, fungiform, valate, or circumvallate, and foliate.
Now, who tell me tongue have how many sulci? And what are they?
Tongue have two sulci are median lingual sulcus and sulcus terminalis.
Absolutely right. Well done.
The root of the tongue is the posterior portion of the tongue that attaches it to the bottom of the pharynx, the throat. uvulum structure gives tongues extreme flexibility.
Apex is the tip of the tongue.
Hooray, you just examine the tongue's structures. Now let's explore the tongue's house. What structures are surrounding the tongue but still inside the mouth? Mouth structure. You can see your mouth on your face, covered by your lips from the front, below your nose. Get the mirror and say, "Ah," in front of the mirror. If the mirror or your neighbor's glasses fog up, you're too close, back up a bit. When you can see things clearly, we will start to identify the different parts of your mouth. You can easily see the tongue, lips, teeth. But now I am introducing you parts that you don't know. Open your mouth wider. Say, "Ah ah," louder. See the dangly thing in the back? It's not called the dangly thing, though it is descriptive. That's the uvula. Let's look from the outside. Uvula. The uvula hangs from the end of the soft palates.
Soft palate. Can you tell me about it?
Sure, but first let's me reminder from the sight lesson. Nasal means related to nose, equals greater than nasal passage as the passage from the nose.
Nasal means related to nose.
Okay, we're back to the soft palate. Pay attention to your computer's screen and the picture on the screen. These are the soft palates. Soft palates are movable muscles. The soft palate helps closing off the nasal passages, the nose passage, and the airway while you swallow. Imagine when you sneeze, food pieces can shoot up your nose through nasal passage. The soft palates will protect the nasal passage by diverting a portion of the excreted substance to the mouth. Besides closing the nasal passage and the airway, soft palates also help you produce sounds when you speak or sing. The opposite of soft is hard. So your mouth also have the parts called hard palates. It is hard because it is a bony plate structure, not a muscular structure like soft palates. Hard palate makes 2/3 of the front roof of your mouth. Hard palate is above soft palate. Functions of the hard and soft palate are swallowing, breathing, and speaking.
With soft and hard palate, I can speak with you.
What are the functions of the hard and soft palate?
There are breathing, swallowing and speaking.
Tonsils. Do you see these lumps on the sides of the mouth, above the tongue and below the soft palate? These are the tonsils. Tonsils are lumps of soft tissue. Tonsils are part of the immune system. You have 2 tonsils, one on either side at the back of the mouth. Tonsils vary in size from person to person.
Immune system? I haven't heard of it. What is it?
Let's me explain for you. As a part of the immune system, tonsils fight infections, particularly those in the throat. When you have a sore throat or when you are sick, your tonsils are fighting off the disease for you. When you have sore throat, looking at the mirror with mouth wide open, you can see the redness of your tonsils when they are fighting germs for you. All right, your turn to work. Can you identify some mouth structures we have talked about on your worksheet first? And second, from looking at the mirror. And thirdly, from looking at your parents' wide-opened mouth.
Review tonsils. As a part of the immune system, tonsils fight infections, particularly those in the throat.
Mouth. Do you know the medical term for your mouth?
It is called oral cavity, right?
Correct. This is the first place where food enters your body.
The medical term of mouth is called oral cavity. Eating time.
What is your favorite food? Who liked cookies? Raise your hand.
Me. It's me.
Okay, when you eat a piece of cookie, what happens? You bite a piece and you chew it, right?
Yeah, right.
Your mouth helps you break large chunks of food into small parts called a bolus of food. Bolus simply means a rounded mass.
Bolus simply means a rounded mass.
The food bolus gets broken down into smaller and smaller particles and ultimately get absorbed into the blood. Where is the food bolus gets absorbed?
The food bolus gets absorbed into the blood.
To make food bolus, your teeth, your tongue and saliva in your mouth do the chewing, which breaks down large chunks of food into small pieces. Medical term for chewing is mastication. Chewing or mastication helps to break down the food physically. That's why your parents are always telling you to chew your food carefully. It helps you with not choking.
Medical term for chewing is mastication.
Do you still remember your table manner? Always chew with your mouth close. How do you close your mouth? You have your lips that help with closing your mouth. Chewing with your mouth, lips close, or else you are dropping food onto the table, which is gross and also opens you for a sneaky pea to be flicked into your mouth by a sibling. Aha!
Review mouth. Chewing or mastication helps to break down the food physically.
Lips. Lips are soft muscle coverings of your mouth and is found in front of your teeth. Lips help us to hold the mouth shut tightly and prevent the food and liquids from falling out of the mouth. Lips hold the food between upper and lower teeth during chewing.
Review lips. Lips help us to hold the mouth shut tightly and prevent the food and liquids from falling out of the mouth.
Epiglottis. This is a leaf-like structure at the far back of the tongue. When you open the mouth wide and say, "Ah," you may see this. One student curiously had asked me before, why do we have that unneeded part in our mouth? The epiglottis is a safety structure. When we chew food and swallow food, the tongue pushes the food bolus into the throat. At the same time, the epiglottis is elevated and closes the opening to the lung, preventing the food from entering the trachea, the tube that carries air to the lungs. It prevents us from choking on our food. The epiglottis plays a very important role in our body.
Review epiglottis.
I just want to repeat this structure one more time because of its importance. Tonsils. Do you still remember a safety tool in the mouth I taught you earlier? Epiglottis is to prevent us from choking on our food.
Review epiglottis. The epiglottis is a safety structure. When we chew food and swallow food, the tongue pushes the food bolus into the throat. It prevents us from choking on our food. Review tonsils.
Now I will introduce you the second safety structure, defense mechanism in our mouth, because our mouths are directly open to the external environment. Mouths are continuously exposed to germs and other harmful substances. Your special body needs protections from germs. Another defense mechanism we have in the mouth known as tonsils. These tonsils have special nodes called lymph nodes. They have special cells that can fight germs. They are the superhero of the mouth, fighting those dastardly germs. Have you heard of tonsillitis? You may be aware of tonsillitis. Tonsillitis is the swollen tonsils you would get with a sore throat. If you have a sore throat, then you can open the mouth and you will see swollen red tonsils at the back of the mouth because your tonsils are fighting germs when you have sore throat. Now, who like pizza?
Yeah. Yummy.
That's my favorite.
What is your favorite kind of pizza?
My favorite is seafood pizza.
And drink lemonade. But hey, do you feel you have lots of saliva in your mouth? Salivary glands. But have you been curious why your mouth is watery instead of being dry? Especially when fresh pizza is around. Do you ever feel like that someone has turned on a faucet in your mouth?
I do.
I ask because your mouth is always watery. I'm just joking, but it's a very relevant joke here. While there is no faucet, there are 3 pairs of glands in the mouth that secrete saliva in your mouth. Your saliva also help you detect taste in chewing food. Memory check. What is the medical term for chewing?
Mastication.
Mastication.
I heard someone sweetly said, mastication. You're correct. You guys are so smart. I'm so proud of your attention in the class. Back to the faucet in your mouth. Oh, I mean the salivary glands. The salivary glands are in your mouth. The diagram below shows the names and the position of these glands. Have you taken the skin lesson, the touch sense lesson? If you haven't, take one after this. If you did, pop-up quiz again. What are glands? We learned in the lesson of skin that glands are sacs that secrete different substances. We learned in the lesson of skin that glands are sacs that secrete different substances. Well, salivary glands are the glands that produce saliva. Salivary glands produce saliva and help keep our mouth moist. Have you ever talked or sang for a long period of time?
Well, I have been sung for 4 hours.
What do you feel in your mouth?
My salivary glands worked overtime that morning and was exhausted. My mouth dried up. I should have drunk water while talking to help my salivary glands from working too hard.
Or maybe got a tag team partner I could tag in to take the second 2 hours. Now, I want you to close your eyes and think of your favorite food. It's so yummy and ready to eat, like cookies and cake. A fresh delicious pizza? Oh, how about a chocolate and strawberry ice cream? Try to listen over the sounds of everyone's tummy rumbling, including mine. Now switch your awareness to your mouth. What is happening in your mouth? Yes, your mouth gets watery, right? Of course, it's not from the faucet.
It's from salivary glands, right?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Your salivary glands are working and producing saliva in your mouth with no food in your mouth yet. This also happens when you just smell your favorite food, or you just see the pictures of your favorite food, think about it, draw it, or even hear the word, pizza.
I think I'm going to have pizza for dinner tonight.
That's because your salivary glands will involuntarily produce saliva even when we think of food, or we smell your favorite food, or see food. Your salivary glands work so effectively, aren't they? Saliva mainly consists of water, not that I would want to drink a cup of it.
How does saliva help you digest food?
Saliva also has some digestive enzymes that help digest carbohydrates, it has protective enzymes that destroy bacteria and germs, and most importantly it helps to make a bolus of food that is broken down by teeth, thereby helping the process of swallowing. Without saliva, we will not be able to feel the different types of tastes. The chemical that is responsible for various tastes has to be dissolved in saliva, and only then will our taste buds detect them. How many different types of tastes can your mouth feel? There's more than good or bad. How amazingly does your mouth tell you the taste? Let's learn about 5 taste receptors.
Review salivary glands. Salivary glands are the glands that produce saliva. Salivary glands produce saliva and help keep our mouth moist.
Taste receptors. How many different types of taste are there? Yes, there are 5 types. That's why you enjoy food so much. It's such diversified. There are 5 main tastes. Sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and umami. The last sounds like a kind of surfing. Brah, I went out on the water and caught a wicked umami. Now, you tell me what your favorite type of taste is. I think the majority will say sweet. But some love the sour taste too. There is usually at least one person that likes bitter as well. Hopefully they are not bitter about it. Let's join a local food festival. Now you taste different food there and identify which area of your tongue tells you different tastes. Okay, Amanda likes sweet taste. Do you know what area on your tongue is responsible for sweet taste, Amanda? David likes salty beefsteak. Do you know what area on your tongue is responsible for salty taste, David? How about Susan? Susan likes sour taste. Do you know what area on your tongue is responsible for sour taste, Susan? Let's look again. The fact is that our tongue has specific areas that are responsible for different types of taste. Amanda, David, and Susan can answer my question by looking at the diagram. The diagram represents different parts of the tongue that detect different types of taste. Amanda.
Sweet area is number 1.
David.
Salty area is number 4.
Susan.
Sour area is number 2.
Good job. I'm so proud of you guy. You can do a fun experiment today at home by yourself to feel the truth of this lesson. Go home, take a cube of sugar. Put your tongue out, and place the sugar at the tip of your tongue. You will feel the sweet taste. Now, place the sugar on the side or at the back of your tongue. Do you still feel the same sweetness? Make sure to do it with the same sugar cube, and don't put it back in the bowl. Does anyone know why we feel different types of taste in different places of the tongue? Yay, because our tongue has specific areas that are responsible for different types of taste. It is because we have different types of taste receptors that can detect different types of taste. These taste receptors are known as taste buds. Interesting fact. Most hate the bitter taste, right? You may wish that you don't feel the bitter taste. So why do you need to feel the bitterness taste? If so, why do we still taste it? Aha! There is an important reason for that for sure. Listen up. During the process of evolution, animals have acquired bitter taste as a protective mechanism so animals can identify most of the poisons which are bitter in taste. And animals, like human beings, will not consume the poisonous food. Which is usually why the worst candy is also bitter, and where we get the phrase, "It's a bitter pill to swallow." As a future doctor, we don't just stop here. In order to be an expert in a field, we must study and experiment the subject in depth. Now we are going to take a microscope and zoom into the tongue, because these taste buds are so tiny we need a microscope to see them. The diagram shows the different types of papillae we discussed before. They have taste buds on them. Look at how we are zooming in on the tongue. This is a microscopic cross-section of a taste bud. Tell me what you think the taste bud looks like? Some say it looks like a balloon. Some say it looks like an onion. All are all correct. If you say a cantaloupe, you might also just be hungry. There are hundreds of thousands of these taste buds on the tongue. When the chemicals responsible for sensing tastes get dissolved in saliva and enter the taste pore, the chemicals mixed with saliva stimulate the taste receptors. These taste receptors generate electrical impulses that carry the taste signal to the brain, and then the brain identifies different tastes. What does carry the taste signal to the brain and then the brain identifies different tastes?
Taste receptors.
That's because your salivary glands will involuntarily produce saliva even when we think of food, or we smell your favorite food, or see food. Your salivary glands work so effectively, aren't they?
Review taste receptors. The tongue has specific areas that are responsible for different types of taste. There are 5 main tastes: sweet, sour, bitter, salty and umami.